I'm Mandy.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is The Coop.
This is Coop Faves, where we share our favorite homeschooling resources and adventures. Today's fave is Gather Round Homeschool.
If you don't know it's a fave already, then you haven't been listening.
Do you even know us?
I know.
Why are you here? Just kidding. It's a Christian-based unit study creator. So Gather Round Homeschool creates unit studies. So what is it? They're topic-based unit studies covering social studies, science, language arts, history, geography, fine arts, and Bible. So it's nice that it kind of rounds out everything, and maybe each unit may not touch on every single of those additional subjects, but over time, if you were to use multiple units throughout the year, it definitely would give you a well-rounded introduction, at least, or some topical covering of those other subjects.
Totally.
So it's driven by a beautiful illustrated teacher guide. So I'm going to show you the Easter teacher guide.
And you can't even hype this too much because it's absolutely beautiful.
It's beautifully illustrated, like all watercolor, right? It's watercolor. Oh, here's Jesus writing in on Palm Sunday. And so the illustrations are just absolutely beautiful. But as I was saying, it's driven by this teacher guide, which is designed to be read aloud to students, pre-reader through high school. Students have their own notebooks, which are broken into age-appropriate levels: pre-reader, early elementary, upper elementary, middle school, and high school. Each unit provides activity suggestions and has a recommended book list to complement the topic. So, for instance, their space unit study has a list of books from pre-reader to high school level reading. So if you want some picture books or some upper elementary or middle grade reading, it has suggestions for you. And so they're a great catalyst to at least start to spark your research into what else can I use to complement this study.
And it saves time for you because so many times I'm looking for, what book would go along with this? And when should we read Shakespeare? And when...
Right.
But she has the list.
Right, it's right there.
So when we were doing Human Body, Wonder was on there.
Yes.
And that was just a gold mine.
Right.
So it just cut out so much time in researching.
Exactly. So she provides that list. And by she, it's Rebecca Spooner is the name of the author and creator of this unit study company. So they also offer mini units, which are less in depth and designed to supplement the main units. Those ones are nice, because you can do multiple at one time or use them for a short interim if you're taking a little break from something bigger. So it's just nice. Their whole offering is really great. She also offers the opportunity for you to buy the entire year. So she's kind of made plans of her unit studies to be an entire school year. So she's up to finishing year 3. And then next year she's anticipating coming out with her year 4. And then the idea would be to start the cycle over and go back to year 1 because all of your children will have leveled up at least 1, if not 2 workbooks up. And so the whole content of what they do and how they react to the information will be different.
Yeah.
So that part's really nice is that she has it laid out. If you want to use it as an open and go curriculum, you can. If you're like us and we're super eclectic and use this and that and a little here and a little there, you can just pick what you want and apply it that way. So here's why it's favorite. It has a Christian worldview. So for us, that's super nice, especially when it comes to something historical and science-based, is we really would like our information to have a Christian worldview. And then just in general, being reminded how important it is to always refer back to God and his creation in all that we study every day.
Everything
really
points to God.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's easy to forget that when you're trying to get through a curriculum or when you're busy and you're just teaching the actual content. Yeah. But to have something that has it there and has the prayer and has the scripture, it's like, yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yes. Exactly. So it's such a great way for us to really stay in tune and reinforce that in our homes. It does not shy away from difficult topics in history, such as slavery, Civil War, civil rights, and it presents it with the hope of Jesus. So at least when she's able to talk about the depravity of man and how sinful we are, we can also talk about seeing the hope in Jesus to do better. And so I like that it kind of balances those things. You aren't getting some of the crazy truth without the balance of there being good in the world still.
Yeah,
you know,
I love it.
Or hope. There's hope. Gather Round really works to bring all ages together for learning time. My son is only just now 4, and he's been able to sit down for most of our lessons. He just sits next to me while I'm reading, and he'll keep busy with something else or play with cars. But I'm trying to think, most of the time he'll come with us we're doing oceans right now, and he'll come and sit down next to me while I'm reading. When we did human body, he loved it. He mostly is waiting for the video that I show in association with each lesson, but even so, he's still coming down to sit with us.
And he's hearing the words. He's soaking it in.
Totally. But he could be in the other room playing.
Yeah.
But he's not. And I don't make him sit there.
Yeah,
so
he chooses to be there.
It's nice that
that's really sweet.
he's engaged enough that he'll sit there. And he likes looking at the teacher guide. So I'll have it up on my computer. I prefer to read from my computer and be able to kind of scroll and look at things. And so he is able to see all the beautiful illustrations from my computer.
And the links are on the digital version, right?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Not so much in some of the newer ones.
I know the videos. Okay.
Yeah, they're not.
Oh, okay.
Or at least in Oceans, she's not providing actual YouTube links, which could be strategic because they expire, or they might have commercials that are inappropriate, and maybe she doesn't want to be responsible. I don't blame her for that. So there aren't links to YouTube anymore directly within the pages.
Okay.
So it'll say, look for a video of, and then you can go and search it. So we do sometimes, and sometimes we don't. It just depends on their interest. But my son really loves Wildcrats, so that's my way of tying it in for him. There's been almost, for every lesson of Oceans, an associated Wildcrats episode about that sea creature.
Yeah, Wildcrats is
that
amazing.
Works. He loves it. And so the appropriate notebooks really help. So having the notebook for each learner is great for that reason. So everyone can come together, and then they have their own individual work at their own work level. And it just helps to enhance that learning experience.
And then they're doodling on or coloring or taking notes.
Exactly. And then because everyone has learned the same content that day, it offers beautiful opportunities to discuss it organically at other times. You know, at the dinner table, you're talking about it, and everybody participated in that learning that day. And so it's nice. And even you with your 3 kids, you guys all work on the same things. You're not doing one history lesson with one kid in a separate, you know.
Oh, that would be
You're
insanity.
not doing that.
Yeah.
You know, so you've always done kind of the idea of the one-room schoolhouse. But this is a curriculum designed for that, which is really nice.
Yeah, just in her name alone, Gather Round. It's for everyone in the family to be able to gather around and take part.
Exactly. And then each unit is a perfect base to build upon and customize. So if you want to build it out even bigger than what she offers or suggests, you can.
Yeah. Can I talk about how I built out Human Body?
Yes.
So Human Body, I built it out with books that Jessica had.
Yes.
And then I built it out with some dissections I saw someone else do. And then I added to the mix.
Right,
we
you
went
found your own
to the Real Bodies exhibit in Vegas, and that was phenomenal. And it was just a great way to cap the unit study. But that unit study we spent so much time on, but it was worth it.
Right.
And but it was because I had your resources to help me for free.
Right.
You know, I didn't have to buy those books.
Right.
And so it's just really nice to build it out and use some of the resources your friends have already.
Exactly. So this is how we use it.
Oh, sorry.
Mandy already shared, which is
transitioned.
perfect. Yeah, you got us there. So I like to offer choices to Sophia and say, these are the units I'd like to do this year. Do you have a preference? Like, which ones sound good to you? You know, because the list is getting long on the website now that it's like, well, I don't want to do some of these yet. But what if these 5 options sound really good? And then she'll be able to
I love
pick.
that idea.
So I like being able to help, you know, facilitate things she's actually interested in. So it's not always just me pushing content.
And you already then have stuff to do. You don't have to come up with it and find a script or whatever.
Exactly.
It's all there.
And then we also love to use the holiday units to homeschool together. So we've done Christmas 1 and 2. She now has 2 Christmas units. So the first one we did together, there were recitations we did, which were really awesome. So it pulls from Luke chapter 2. We talked about the nativity story. And so that year I curated basically the whole thing and pulled out things that I thought we could do together from the lesson. So we didn't really read any one lesson in its entirety, but we kind of pulled out some of the best of. And we did a whole day. And then this past Christmas...
Us two, our two families.
Our two families. And then this past Christmas, we did Christmas Around the World. And so we planned to do one epic day together. And we chose the country intentionally because we felt like it was being really, really awesome. And then you continued with it on your own.
Yeah, I did, I think, a total of 4 or 5 countries.
Out of the 10.
Out of the 12.
Oh, there's 12.
There's 12 for like the 12 days of Christmas. Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, and then next year maybe we'll do 2 or 3. And then the following year we could do the final ones still left to do. And it was really, really fun. It's the whole day. And, and it just... You have to plan for it, though. You have to plan ahead that these are the days I'm going to do this. And they're not going to do their math. They're not going to do... Don't pick a day they have lessons.
Right.
And just...
It's its own thing.
Yeah.
And then we got really excited to do Easter together. And we've shared a lot about that on our social media.
Amazing.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
And this was the first one that I actually bought the full printed version. And so we got the teacher's guide and each of the ones fully printed. And so the already printed teacher guide... I mean, the paper quality is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
The binding is amazing. They bind the teacher guide in a black spiral and the student in a white spiral. So it's super easy to tell, at least where the teacher's is. Yeah, I don't know about the kids. You figure it out. But I know which one's mine. And then even provided a Seder script. So it went through the Easter story lesson by lesson, which was incredible to go through. And then it also suggested doing a Seder dinner, which we did with our two families.
With recipes.
With recipes and everything. And so we had everything we needed, and it was really great. And then we had the actual script. So we either tore them out of our books or I printed a couple extra copies from the digital version. And we all had our script to be able to say what we needed to say at the dinner. And so it was just a really immersive experience. And then for this particular one, we alternated some lessons we did together and some lessons we did at home because we knew we couldn't do them all together without really just forcing it.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you know, it just makes it more exciting to go through together.
And we did the big crafts together, like the resurrection garden, the dyeing the eggs and filling up with birdseed, and then also the Seder dinner. To me, that's like a craft.
Right. Well, we spread the eggs out over 3 of our lessons together. So the first week we hollowed them out. The second week we painted them and decorated them. And then the third week we filled them with birdseed. And then at the Seder dinner, they got to throw them and, you know.
And since they're just birdseed and eggshell, they can split, you know, smash and go everywhere. It's great.
It was awesome. So that was really fun. We'll see what starts growing in my backyard.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
And then I thought we'd share just... a few of the units that we've loved. We've loved the human body. We've both done it and both really raved about it. I've done oceans and space. We've done Easter and then the 2 Christmases. And then you've done...
American history. So I just did the Native American part.
Right.
Which, I mean, it does go later into the unit study, but I just did probably the first like 4 or 5 lessons because that's where the interest was. And then as soon as I saw the interest falling off, we went on to something else.
Right. Yeah.
But I have it to circle back, which I'm really glad about.
Yeah. And so that's my plan for next year is to combine. She has 4 U.S. history and she calls those her mini units. So I guess they're not as involved as like the human body ones.
Seems pretty, I mean.
Right. But she calls them her mini units and I haven't actually explored them yet. But I want to pair it with her U.S. government, North America, indigenous peoples, underground to Canada. So I figured getting all of those and spreading them out throughout the year in addition to the other curriculum I already have that I'd like to use, I thought that would be a great complement. And that's pretty much, outside of math, the bulk of our learning next year.
Well, did you know what she's doing, the author is doing right now?
Yes. She's traveling the world, or traveling the country in her motorhome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking and yeah, I'd like her to come here and speak, but
I know, I
don't have time for to organize.
Well, I'm a big fan. Can I get your autograph?
Yes, exactly. So that's Gather Round Homeschool. You should really check it out.
Thanks for listening. We love your support. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast, leave a rating and review to let us know how we're doing, and share our podcast with your friends who need a little community, humility, and joyful fun in homeschooling.